Uh, Hello. Good morning to all of you. Okay, I can wait till somebody joins. We are waiting for a few more people to join over here. So, somebody joined. Um, Hello. Can you hear me? You can just write yes on the chat. Hello, ma'am. How are you? I'm waiting for people to join. So, this is my first live chat, live session. I'm going live on YouTube for the first time. So, let's see how is the response from people. I assume that this timing may be not working for most of the students, maybe because they are either in their colleges or in their study places. Hello, someone has joined. So can you just write yes in the chat box so that I can know? Uh, if my voice is audible to you, can you please write yes so that I can begin? Hi Rohit. So do you have any queries? You can just write in the chat. If you have any queries regarding the subject or anything regarding any entrance exam, you can write anytime in the chat box. So basically, we are here to discuss biochemistry and the role of biochemistry in different entrance exams. Okay, I can see that. Okay, you're here. Hello, someone else has also joined. Um, Hi. So, can you please write yes in the chat box? And if you have any query, please write in the chat, and we can have a biochemistry, any subject related to biochemistry, immunology, cell biology. And you can also let me know what you people are doing right now, what all subjects you are taking. So I've seen a lot times that people struggling with biochemistry, students in the beginning struggling with biochemistry, and if not struggling, they just see the subject and they are mostly. I've seen students being getting a lot of confusion just by seeing name of the subject, or just by going through the books, that this would be a very difficult subject. So my motto is to make this subject look easier, and so to help students and anyone who wants to study this, to make it look like a practical thing, connect with their lives, and how to understand the subject easily. So if you people have any queries from your side, anything, any doubts in your mind regarding any branches of biochemistry, or any branch of biology for the matter, so you can just write in the chat box. If you think any particular topic you're confused with, or maybe you have just started with the subject, or you're about to start, and you want to give me an overview about it, so you can. Okay, still we have one viewer over here. So can you please write yes in the chat box so that I can know? Okay, anyhow, so my aim to join this chat was, this is my first live chat, and my aim was to aware students and beginners about how to begin with biochemistry. So when you are a beginner and you want to learn biochemistry, either it is a part of your entrance exam, upcoming entrance exam, or if it is something which you will be you're going to study in. So see what happens whenever we say biochemistry. So that means biology which is connected with chemistry. So we are going to learn about all the chemical reactions, all the chemical pathways which will be taking place inside our body, inside the system. So for that matter, we should have some basic understanding of organic chemistry. We should know about carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and few more molecules which are important. And we should have some basic about biology. That means what is cell, the hierarchy of cell, organelles present inside the cell, what are their roles. So this is what we learn till grade 12. We learn about different topics of biology, about cell systems, how are they arranged inside our body. So coming to next level is now combining biology with organic chemistry. So in biology, where we are learning about cell and the okay, so there is a question: how can we differentiate between biochemistry with clinical biochemistry? So what happens? So I assume that either you are a student of biochemistry or you are going to start with this. So clinical biochemistry is just a part of biochemistry. See what happens if we are learning. Let's say I'm learning about insulin, or we are learning about gluconeogenesis and glycolysis, impact of glycolysis in our lives. So in normal biochemistry, what we do as a biochemistry student, I was a BSc biochemistry student, and usually clinical biochemistry is just introduced to us as a single subject. So for just just one book we study for that. Uh, Medical students who do MBBS and so on, so they have to go in depth of clinical biochemistry. So let's say I'll focus on one topic, let's say glycolysis. So in glycolysis, we learn that what are the pathways, how does different enzymes in those 10 steps of glycolysis, they affect conversion of glucose to pyruvate. But in clinical biochemistry, you have to learn what happens when the glucose levels, they increase in the body. So maybe you will come across the questions like what will be the impact of high glucose levels in human body. So maybe you have to focus more on what will be the symptoms to that person when the insulin surge is there, when the levels of insulin are too high. So you have to tell the symptoms exactly: tremors, or organs getting affected. So in normally speaking, in biochemistry we are focused on reactions along with the enzymes, their end products, and how the attack, nucleophilic attack, and everything is taking place. In clinical biochemistry, we are more focused on the diagnosis and what are the symptoms taking place in the body because of those changes. Not only glycolysis, but any level, beta oxidation, whenever a person goes for weight loss, let's say. So what happens during weight loss? uh, so at that time during weight loss, what is happening? We are shifting our diet from carbohydrate to lipid. So either a person has stopped eating carbohydrates, or he is or she is on a low carbohydrate diet. So at that time, our body also shifts from um, low carbohydrate. It shifts to fat. So it uh, starts taking fat as a fuel. So now this fat, which has started taking as fuel, it starts oxidizing, and we start getting energy from it. And so this is how it happens in biochemistry. In clinical biochemistry, we'll be learning what will be the impact. A person will have tremors, and maybe the insulin levels will go low, or the gluconeogenesis will be initiated. So these are the things, these are the differences between biochemistry and clinical biochemistry. In clinical biochemistry, we are focusing more on symptoms, or maybe you have been provided a list of symptoms, and then you have to tell what is the situation at this time. If you're satisfied with the answer, you can just write something in the chat box, or you can ask any other question. And okay, so anything else you want to ask about the subject, or any particular topic if you have doubts on, or that is going on in your university or college, I can just discuss about that also. Anything which you feel is not mm, like not able to understand. So we have a lot of books of biochemistry which we follow. The Bible of biochemistry, we call it. Nelson and Cox, it's called Leninger over here in India, which is referred by thousands of people and a lot of universities over the, I would say, over the world also. But in India, especially the international books which we follow, among this, the Bible of biochemistry is, and every biochemistry student has that book. It's called Leninger, Principles of Biochemistry. In other countries, we call it Nelson and Cox. Besides, there are a lot of Indian author books available which are good also. Um, for clinical biochemistry over here, Harper's is the preferred choice because it comes along with the gist of the clinical biochemistry, and it has given everything in a very small book. And then I have seen a lot of books which are just copy of international editions, but they have copied it in such a way which is user friendly. A person, especially Indians, they would be able to understand that level of English. So there are a lot of books like that. Otherwise, in our graduation, I did my BSc in biochemistry. So we used to follow books like Leninger, first of all. Then going one level up, there was a book called White and White. Um, and then we had White and Pratt was there. I can just write the names of the books if it helps you any by any chance. It was White and White, and then we had White and Pratt. There are few more books which are actually very good if you want to learn structural biochemistry. For example, Stryer for structural biochemistry. So this is something I think one level above, but okay, if someone has fatty liver, so that can be due to some biochemical imbalance within the body. So, so this is a clinical biochemistry question. Okay, so if you are asking this question, so this is something related to clinical biochemistry, where you have to talk about the imbalances in the biochemical stage. So, see, if a person has fatty liver, so liver is something which is hub of all the metabolic reactions. It has to take, like any kind of metabolism, carbohydrate, fat, or protein metabolism. That means whatever we have to digest inside our body and get energy from that, liver is responsible for all those things. So it can be due to some biochemical imbalances. There are few pathways which are connected with fat, and we call them fat biosynthesis, and then we have fat oxidation. So this means a complete fat metabolism. Metabolism involves catabolism, that is breakdown of fat, and another is biosynthesis of fat. So now, breakdown of fat is good. It takes place inside our body when we are actually utilizing fat for energy. This is actually an achievement when we are able to utilize fat for energy, because this is what is the problem with most of the people today. But when talking about fat biosynthesis, to which we also call lipogenesis, uh, so when fat biosynthesis is higher, the amount is more than it should be, liver has to work more. There are two ways by which our body can form fat, two main ways. One is through having fat directly. So when you have fat directly through lipogenesis, fat is synthesized inside the body and it gets stored. The another way is through excess of carbohydrates. So when you are having excess of a high carbohydrate diet, or high carbohydrate and high sugar diet, that directs carbohydrates towards fat biosynthesis. So because what happens inside our body always prefers carbohydrate as its first preferred fuel for energy production. So whatever work we are going to do, that has to be an outcome of whatever carbohydrates we had, because that is the first preference. If we are having those carbohydrates in excess, so then those excess carbohydrates will start converting into fat, and that will give an extra impact on our liver, and that eventually will cause fatty liver and many other associated diseases and symptoms along with that. So yes, obviously it is a biochemical imbalance, and I can write here for your reference also. I don't know how much you were able to understand. So fatty liver can be because of load of high fat and high carbohydrates, carbs on liver. Okay, so oh, thank you. And I am also satisfied that I came live today for the first time, and at least I am useful and I'm interacting. So it feels good. Somebody took time to join the live session and is asking questions also. So I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions if you have. And if you can let me know that at what stage you are, it's just out of curiosity you're asking biochemistry questions, or you are actually a student. So if I know my about my viewers, I would be able to talk in those terms. If I know that if you are a student, then we can maybe talk about in that perspective. Or if you are just someone interested in biochemistry, we can talk more about how biochemistry is involved in our lives. I've always tried to engage my students in this way, that connecting our lives with biochemistry. So whatever we are doing daily in our lives. Okay, you were a student of microbiology. That's great. So microbiology also involves a bit of biochemistry. I've seen that they have few topics where they talk about cellular respiration and all those Krebs cycle and the pathways, energy production pathways, basically. So for me personally, biochemistry is something very close to my heart because I myself I try to connect things from our daily life to biochemistry. See what happens when we start our day with a plate full of breakfast. So our breakfast over the world, I've seen, it includes at least 60% or at least 50% of carbs would be there, carbohydrates would be there, and rest. um is alcoholic fatty liver more dangerous than non-alcoholic fatty liver? So yes, actually, alcoholic fatty liver can be more dangerous because, as I told, that liver is a hub of metabolism. Whatever you provide to your body, whether it is nutrients or whether it is a liquor, like if you're providing alcohol also, that alcohol metabolism also takes place inside our body only. So if your body is already overloaded with fat, that may come along with the fat which you are eating along with that alcohol, and to add to it, you are also adding alcohol, and that alcohol metabolism has to take place also. So then it adds an extra amount of load to liver, and which is actually more dangerous, and it is in you know in normal conditions fatty liver is a condition which is reversible. But in case of alcoholic fatty liver, this reversal may take time, or it may be it is more uh, it's near to impossible, because alcohol being an addiction, it is very difficult to withdraw that, and moreover being liver with a lot of load on it due to fat along with alcohol, so it becomes difficult for liver to cope up. So yes, it is more dangerous for uh, alcoholic fatty liver to cope up as compared to non-alcoholic fatty liver. Uh, and there are a lot of metabolic reactions which actually are going on inside the liver, just like glycolysis is going on. I told you when you eat, that is what I was about to tell you, that when we start a day with a plate which is full of um, carbohydrates, protein. Sometimes we skip protein. In fact, it is majorly carbohydrates and fat. And if proteins are there, they may be very few in number, less in number, along with some kind of fiber. So the the carbohydrate which is there in our diet, this carbohydrate actually uh, is the main fuel which is going to provide energy to our body. Because even if you provide your body a plate which is 90% of fat, 10 maybe 9% of protein and just 1% of carbohydrates, still it is going to focus on that, 1% of carbohydrate instead of rest. So I hope the answer was satisfactory. And if you have any other queries, okay, so this was a wonderful session for me because at least I had some listeners. And thank you for joining. Um, and I would plan few more live sessions in future, and please do join. Thanks again. Okay, nice. It was very nice having a session with some viewers and listeners. Okay, so bye bye.